Welcome. Today we're going to talk about Cyberpunk Edgerunners. I know I'm a little late on this one. I started watching it with some friends in the middle of last season, even though I knew I didn't have time to keep up with it and finish it really, so I just recently finished it. And hopefully that doesn't interfere with my review because there's kind of a gap in between when I watched half and then the other half. And then I also haven't played the game, so there's a lot of terminology that I'm not as familiar with, but I'm going to try my best. Um, it's about David Martinez. He goes to school and is trying his best to do well in life, even though he's from an impoverished household, and it's just his mom trying to take care of him. And they're really poor, and he gets bullied, but he's trying his best. And then his mom gets murdered in front of him in an accident. And so then he ends up finding some tech she was making, and he has a doctor install it on him, and he meets Lucy, who's stealing stuff on a train, and she's part of a gang of edge runners. Um, So she kind of sets him up because his tech was supposed to go to Maine, the leader of the gang, but basically he unintentionally stole it from him. So David ends up joining this gang of edge runners and trying his best and looking into his mom's death, and mostly dropping out of school. Um, and then there's like uh, cyber tech companies Arasaka and Max Tech that are kind of rival companies, it seems like. Um, so the characters are David Martinez, the main character. He's just a boy trying his best to survive and find out more about his mom's death. And he's very eager to learn and pull his weight around the gang. He kind of annoys Maine at first. And then there's a bit of a time skip period where he becomes the leader of the gang and he becomes a lot more like hardened and leader type, and he develops a lot and gets a lot more technology on him. But if you get too much tech, you run the risk of getting cyber psychosis, where you just basically go crazy. So you see his descent into madness. It's really good. I like him as a main character. And there's Lucy, who is the main girl. At first, she kind of just uses David to help her with her crime and turns him in to Maine. But the two really fall in love with each other. And she eventually just wants David and her to go to the moon together. She was I believe she was like a lab rat for Arasaka. Um, but she grew up under in like a lab basically to become a runner. Um, and a lot of her friends died and stuff because they experimented on them, and she managed to escape. But she's trying to accomplish some mysterious goal that makes her like drop out of the gang for the last part, and we never really find out what that is exactly. Then there's Maine, who is the gang leader at first. He's really like rough, like a general, basically strict, brash. But he ends up losing to cyberpsychosis, and unfortunately he gets killed. And then there's Dorio, who's his lover, who he ends up killing in the cyberpsychosis. Or she gets killed protecting him. I don't remember exactly. Because that's part of the first part that I watched forever ago. But it was really sad. There's a Kiwi, who is the other runner in the gang. And runners are basically hackers from what I can tell, that hack into people's minds. And she ends up betraying the gang, but then she gets killed. There's Pilar. We don't get to learn a lot about him before he's killed by some guy with cyberpsychosis. There's Rebecca, who I really love. She's just she's Pilar's sister, who is around a lot longer. She she's just like a crazy gun girl that is she just goes out and kills people and is trigger happy, and I really love her. There's Falco, who's like the main getaway driver guy. He's kind of like a cowboy. And then there's Faraday, who's like the main antagonist, I guess. He pays the Edgerunner group and is gives them their missions, but then he ends up betraying them. So the characters I give an 8 out of 10. They're really great. I like the characters. A lot of them don't make it, but I love them regardless. The story, um, well, it's David joins the Edgerunners and learns what it's like to be in there. And then eventually Maine loses it to cyberpsychosis, and him and Dorio are killed. So David takes over the gang, and he starts dealing with Faraday, and they go on various missions and try to learn more about Arasaka. Um, and Faraday ends up betraying them. Um, and then David ends up getting betrayed, so he puts on a super suit to go save Lucy, but it's very hard for him to handle, and it's an epic battle at the end. And this is a huge spoiler, so I will do this when I'm done. At the end, David is killed by this other guy that's really good. And so they do kill the main character off, and most of the characters die. It's just Falco and Lucy survive, basically. So I really love animes where almost everyone dies, because I'm just a terrible person like that, I guess. And I love the feeling of getting my heart broken when the characters I love die. So I liked it in that aspect a lot. So overall, the story is really good, and I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10 for that specific reason. The world is really cool. It has great animation and graphics, and it's just a super sci-fi new world, and they're going to the moon and stuff, and there's just such cool new technology and stuff. I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. My best boy is David, and my best girl is actually Rebecca. I know everyone loves Lucy, but I thought didn't do a whole lot in the last season, the last half of the season. She was kind of just around and dating David, but didn't really help him out. And then he had to take on a lot more himself. But Rebecca was always there at his side, like kicking ass, and I loved her. Um, so overall, I give Cyberpunk Edgerunners a 9 out of 10. It was really good. Even though I haven't seen the game or anything, like it got me emotional. It tugged at my heartstrings. The world building was super cool. The characters were great, and I loved it. Um, Thanks for stopping by. As always, like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. And I'm starting the next new season of anime, so we'll see how that goes. I'll see you guys later.